Levin, wake up. Let's watch TV together.
Okay, hold on. It's cool TV. Alright, here we go.
Does this wish
What's this?
to end me?
It's just a commercial.
Does it want me to live? Is this my crown?
Those chords sound familiar, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
What is that from? Aimee Nolte. Those are the chords I put to the Paul David solo when he sent me that solo and I put chords to it.
Yeah.
Those are the same chords.
Oh.
But this solo's nice.
It is nice. It's really pretty.
Aimee Nolte.
To review, I took Paul David's random note solo, harmonized it to make it sound intentional and pretty, then I sent that harmony that I derived from Paul's solo over to Aimee Nolte, and she played a new solo on it, and that's what you just heard. So I have Paul David sent me an awful solo, ... but I fixed it, and now I've got Aimee Nolte sent me an awesome solo, ... so I guess I have to ruin it. In order to truly ruin something, you first have to know what it's meant to do and figure out a way to make sure it does not achieve that. So let's see what Aimee Nolte was thinking when she played this rad solo.
So at the beginning I tried to play simply, and then as I moved forward I tried to take ideas. If I came up with a solid idea, I tried to repeat it again sometimes. I did do that sequencing through that first inversion section. That's probably going to be about where the peak of my solo happens. Toward the end, I saw that there was opportunity to probably play something that would stick with people. Over this chord, and then over this chord, and then over this chord, and here. I thought that was so sad. Because these are all kind of bright sounding. But it descends and hits this B minor, which kind of felt like home, but it's actually not home. I wanted people to feel some kind of melancholy when we got there, I think. And then we really end in a place that you wouldn't quite expect. I can't remember what it was, but something like that.
Okay, so if I'm going to do the opposite of all that, what I have to do is make sure there's no repeating sequences, nothing catchy, and no climax. And also at the end, there's no melancholy. It's gotta be happy. And my restriction is I can only do this stuff by messing with the audio that Aimee sent me. So this is gonna be
My pal, is it sweet to me? Does it want good things?
different. Here we have Aimee's piano and then just a layer of my guitar doubling it. If we're going to remove repetition, we just got to go phrase by phrase and make sure every moment is different from the previous. That seems different enough, but then when we get to here, that's a little bit too much repetition if we're trying to ruin this thing. Let's just make it never repeat there. So I'll make this phrase fast, something like that. So that makes it pretty different from what came before it. And then this will be a time warpy moment, so it'll get faster and then the pitch will come up. This note's a little bit too repeated of this one, so I'm going to shift this up an octave. Okay, and then what's next? Now that's a sequence that repeats very nicely, so this is going to need a lot of work right here. So let's just reverse a chunk of it. And we'll make this part fast. Doesn't feel like a repetition that way. I think this could use some more random weirdness just scattered about. Next. I feel like that rhythm is a little bit too easy to grab onto. So why don't we make it speed up and slow down randomly. Nice. I feel like this is a nice call and response here. So let's get rid of that. We'll put them in a different order. So we'll put the response before the call. I won't necessarily make it not a call and response because the two will go together in any order. But it's a nice start. Let's see. Yeah, it's less coherent for sure. Let's just push this up a whole step. Let's just chop this, shift this up, or down an octave this time. Horrendous. I feel like is such a good phrase. So let's just make it too slow to understand. And we'll just interrupt it with the fastest part of the whole solo. Now that's the climax there, and we want it to not be a climax. In fact, we want there to be no climax. There's two ways to go about it. One is to make this part less climactic. Another thing we could do, though, is make everything that came before it more climactic. So the climax sounds like a little baby compared to everything that came before it. So I'm going to run this experiment of making everything before the climax more climactic. I'm going to just make this whole thing very loud. And then we'll have the distortion go away at the climax, which is going to make the climax very little and light. It still might be the emotional climax, though. Oh yeah, there's some repetition happening in the climax. We have to get rid of that repetition right there. That thing repeats. Cutting it into little chunks and then reversing the chunks. When you cut it into chunks first and then reverse it, it makes it so that you have a bunch of little reversed chunks instead of one big reversed phrase, so it should drastically affect the groove. There you go. Good job, little computer. Just have to get rid of that repeat. Let's just turn on a crazy amount of delay in that moment. Hardly a climax, if you ask me. Now, here's something I'm really interested in. What if I unmute the guitar now? I haven't changed anything about the guitar, it's just playing the same original melody. Let's see what the two sound like together. Definitely interesting. It sounded good at the beginning. I think that's about where it stopped being super cool to me. But I like this a lot up to there. I think I'm going to take that and just make that a sample. I'd say we definitely messed that solo up.
Sorry, Amy, I love the solo. Sorry to ruin it. I had to. But now we can take that cool part with that guitar there. We can make a whole thing out of that. Does it want?
Repeat it
I
again.
wanted people to feel.
Repeat it again.